and whatever I see is smiling at me. Love is who I am. So hello there, beloved Ascension pioneers and all you beings of divine love. So I've made quite a few Elohim message videos already, and today, as I was about to come into this beautiful spot in my alpine portal called the Twin Lakes, it's how I call them myself. I'm usually guided to do these kind of like spinning infinity symbol walks around the lakes. So we were doing a beautiful light invocation, or we wanted to do a beautiful light invocation for the Sacred Heart of the Beloved to feel more deeply into this essence. And I was kind of surprised because when I started the invocation, I thought it was just going to be one of the basic light exercises I usually do. But somehow what happened was the channeling came through, and it was lots of understanding that occurs when we tune into our soul essence and the level of the soul essence, which is the core creation self, which automatically links me and all of us with the Elohim family of light, or the Elohim consciousness, which is also my bringers of the dawn soul group, or the oversoul light group that, in a way, before I came to this spot today, kind of was giving me messages that they are making themselves more known, or they want to be more known in, between the circles of humanity and the light circles of the communities we form as bringers of light. So, as you know, I talk about them with great reverence because these beings hold the highest patterns of light of perfection, not just for us in our physical form, but also for, all forms of life that occur at the highest core or the essence level, and then precipitate through many, many other levels of light that then encompass many other beings of light who are, in a way, governing those levels. So in each level, as you know, the informational fusion will vary, will be a different experiential wisdom. So the message, or the essence of the Elohim is of our co-creation self. And it's to tune to the creation through the so-called creation principles. And I've talked about that before in many of my videos. But they've actually told me that a lot of people, we overgrandize them, because even in the Bible, they are spoken of in such a mighty term that people, in a way, we build this distance, we build a separation. It's almost like there is no us and them in this equation of our humanity. So this consciousness now wants to be imbued in the hearts of all who are tapping into their core creation self, which is an automatic link or a gateway to the Elohim consciousness, which is the consciousness of creation itself. They always represent themselves as the pillars of creation, which means the divine mothers. So they hold the reverence of the sacred feminine principle, because the feminine principle holds the awareness or the wisdom how all life in creation terms comes into being, comes into form. So many people call them, they are the holders of form. But it's much more broad, it's much more deep, because the level of information they bring is actually very simple, because the more we tune into the soul essence, the more all the complex natures of how we think we need to manifest and create just start to dissolve. So I'm going to mention, before we do today's presentation, which is super good, super cool, I want to share that people now talk about different levels of manifestation. And as you know, in every dimensional reality or every density you're experiencing as a human, the laws will somehow change. So if you will notice yourself and you look at your progress back from where maybe you have started on the spiritual path and where you are now, you're perhaps noticing that you're no longer manifesting in the same way. I'm noticing myself that if I try to visualize something, it just doesn't work, and I can't, and I don't even put my focus there, I don't even try, because I've even listened to many of the channelers who say, well, this different levels of how we manifest in different creational realities their experience within ourselves at that dimensional point, and then we fuse with that dynamic at its ultimate. When we integrate that experience to its maximum capacity and we transcend it, doesn't mean it ends, that our experience or existence at that level ends. It just becomes overlighted, and then we move on to the next step, and goes on and so forth. So whenever we master a certain aspect, automatically it births a gateway into a new aspect of being. So, for example, a lot of people who are still creating through the mind, the law of secret, the law of attraction, you need to visualize. A lot of creation comes through the mind. It's like this fourth-dimensional or psychic level, which is not wrong. When you transcend it, it just becomes a natural key and experience. That's still a vital part of your life, but it's not necessarily the main gateway through which you create your reality, because you've dimensionally shifted. So your density, which is your physical experience of that dimensional space, becomes a co-creator with that. So it starts to respond differently to that dynamic and that flow. So again, that is what we've now described, this fourth dimensional attunement, which is built upon a lot of mental, goals and visualizations and tapping into the third eye. But the fifth is the level of the heart and the heart resonance. And just recently in one of the channelings, someone said, well, it's not just the heart chakra, it's the actual physical heart. Like we have a brain with its brain cells, we have a heart with its heart cells of intelligence. So when we manifest things at the level of the fifth dimension, we have to move deeply, deeply, deeply into our physical heart. It's the essence. So through the heart gateway, we start to activate the heart of the Christ, and that again, that becomes an experience that leads a gateway, and it opens a gateway to new dimensional doorways and experiences. So we would say, well, the sixth is just pure sacred geometry. It's pure divine geometry and patterns of light. And then the seventh is that which is called the seventh heaven. And it's the true soul essence. It's the fusion with the soul. That's just pure. It's pure light. It's pure essence based. So whenever the informational fusion for me comes through the group dynamics of the Elohim consciousness, the laws that govern that realm are the laws of the essence. So it's the core of our soul as it's birthed into being, as it's birthed into a life in creation. Okay, so here is where today's topic and activation begins. So we were sitting by this beautiful lake, and I was trying to do evocation, and then suddenly the channeling started to pour through, and I noticed that is when I move into a group consciousness. So it's a different feeling, and it's a different experience when I'm holding light on that level. And so our connection, or our intent was that we establish a deeper heart connection with the beloved essence, so that the soul partnership that we call an Illumined Union can be more experienced at the core of the heart level. What came through was a beautiful light exercise or attunement through which we can actually anchor that into the very nature of our physical experience. I'm going to now explain the different steps of this divine equation that the group presented, because it's based on the essence level. I know there's a lot of people who still, in a way, they create through the levels of ego, which are the many different facets of being that perhaps their soul still feels it's necessary to experience. But you will see, the more you come into the realms of your soul and experience the soul union, which leads to soul embodiment, which is a fusion with this higher self. It's no longer just connecting to it, but it's more of an embodiment process, becomes more and more integrated. Because you'll notice at the end of the whole session, I actually asked my mother, I said, well, how did you experience this? How is it different than when I tell you things, when I activate things? She said, there's not a lot of difference. And I actually said, well, that's great, because it means that I'm embodying a lot of that. But I do notice a difference, that when I move into this energy, I slow down. And I have already slowed down a lot in my life. I used to be very hyper, and it's like a lot of information, and always, it's like absorbing things so fast. And it's the way I grew a lot. But now I'm noticing the slowing down of my frequency, which is not a lessening of frequency, it's a deepening. And when I'm in this group energy, the group oversoul energy, it feels like a fusion it feels very natural to me. That's all I'll say. So whenever something comes from that space, it's an experience that's very automatic for me. So it's not like I have an intent, I'm going to do this activation and I see something. It often comes as a surprise because I don't know what it's going to be. And I think it's that way for a lot of people who start tuning into the higher levels of their consciousness. So for me, as a being, that my biggest devotion is within the realms of illumined truth. And there I hold this position within the Elohim family, which brings these concepts of creation and our essence and the essence of humanity at the core level. So this is that primordial life force. This is where that sacred breath of life is given to you in no way that it is given to any other being in creation. So that is the basic foundation of your uniqueness. And if you want to learn more about this group and their purpose in creation, and you want to connect more with that consciousness, I have a mini audiobook about the Elohim and their principles and the creation pillar consciousness. But I want to start with presenting you today's light exercise or light activation, which is very beautiful. So this is especially plausible or effective for all those people who do want to create with soul essence, at the core level. They don't want to experience their reality or their partnership in life anymore through the different facets, and they feel that, you know, there's one thing that we call the fifth dimension, but the fifth dimension is not perhaps the ultimate self. It's not ultimate essence experience. As our planet is moving more towards the activation of that consciousness, and a lot of people are feeling that, there's also a lot of beings here who transcend just the fifth dimensional experience, and through our consciousness we can tap into many facets of life. However, the density we experience still in our human form varies, right? So if you want to hold our bodies at a certain degree while still being physical and having missions, our bodies are held just at the right frequency level that they can still remain their physicality until levels of light that are pouring through and transfiguring our bodies can do their own thing, if I can simplify that statement. So for all those of you who feel you are part of the Illumined Union, who want to be one and unified again with your illumined self, but you also feel you want to hold the sacred heart of the beloved, which is bringing that aspect of you, your internal essence, into the mirroring experience of a partnership in your life that reflects soul partnership instead of just what people call the karmic relationships, where basically are kind of like moving away, they're dissolving, especially within the stream of light beings. Those experiences are no longer necessary for many of us, for many of you. And then even the soulmate experience still is in a way still being transcended until you are actually ready to bridge that gap and become, in a way, the full essence of you, that primordial spark that is just you. So the exercise I was shown, and you can do this in any way, you know, even if you feel, well, I'm in a partnership, so that's it, that's what I have in this life. You can still do that because you're actually creating that flow from within to without. So even if you have a partnership, the essence, that is the essence of your primordial self, is already shifting the partnership itself. And it's creating it more and more in a way that it holds it in its illumined form. Okay, so this is for anyone. It's not an exclusive thing because in a way we all have that illumined spark, which is the return to our divine masculine and feminine essences of polarity in creation. And in truth, Elohim are those that hold, and they're actually governing the principle of polarity and how it's playing out in different worlds of creation, because everything, all substance, even if it's not as material that we perceive it to be in our world of density, it all is created through the laws of polarity, which is how the feminine and masculine forces of creation create together in unison. So they're holding that and that principle, and everything they create is through the infusion of light. There's also one audiobook about the Tantrika and the mission or the purpose of the sacred illumined orgasm, which is the unified self, this orgasmic rebirthing and creation of a higher consciousness, and what's the whole meaning and purpose of that. That is also part of this knowledge, so you can attune to that as well. And what I was shown is that instantly through that audio, anyone can attune to Elohim consciousness. It's like an automatic link to that. It's not the only link, but it was coming through me, and the sacred reverence in a way that it can hold and open that space for people who are ready to open to the Elohim consciousness, and once again invite him into the sphere what truly is Illumined Union, what is the essence level. And I was shown that many of the videos I was doing and everything that I was doing so far was just preparing me until this point that I was ready to fully devote to this path, so that enough light quotient is embodied within me, so that I can really embody this myself and share with all of you. So, okay, without further ado, I want to show the light exercise now, and then we can perhaps do it together really shortly, so that we don't run out of breath and run out of time. Okay. So I'm going to describe it first, and then we're going to move into the part where I channel the light exercise for this session as well. So basically the key of this essence of the beloved light activation and inner, fulfillment is that we actually work within our own sacred bubble of love. And there's a few steps towards how we connect to it, extend it outwardly, and then how we make it a holistic experience. So when you're going to tune into the activation, watch for the different steps that are a part of it, because in the first step, you fill your own inner bubble of the essence that is the most uniquely you, for you are creating the sacred soul partnership experience through the essence. So it's the core essence of your soul. It is not karmic. It is not based on healing each other. It is simply the outbreath of creation that is shared between the two of you in this synchronized holy breath of spirit experience, which makes your essence so unique, and how you then share it with another. So the first step is filling that inner chamber or your inner sacred bubble of love with your own essence to its fulfillment, till its overall, it's kind of like a complete rejoicing within your sacredness, within tuning into your essence. Then you expand your essence. Then you envision that essence mirrored as an external mirroring experience, creating a being that looks right back through you within that bubble, within their own bubble. But that bubble then is becoming more and more a shared experience. And the steps that follow, you simply meld the experience so that this coming together within the essence level can create its completion, can come into it's almost like coming into a physical form, because you're fueling it life force. You're feeling life force through your own sacred bubble of love, expanding it, bringing that essence as an external experience, that feeling how that reflects back to you. So before making it a holistic experience, you will feel within sacred intertwined energy, which is always the interflow or the interplay that comes through the sacred infinity symbol. So it's the love you give, the love you receive. It's basically the love coming back to you as a mirror, but it's a mirror of you, of your most sacred essence. So it's an inner essence. It's not something you can create outside of you at all. It is not something you can manifest. It is something you are becoming. And by enriching that inner becoming experience, you're charging that into potentiality within life structure or life in creation. And through imbuing it or infusing it with life force, you're making it more and more tangible physical experience, because for a lot of people, visualization in simple terms doesn't work anymore. You can't just sit and, think of something, visualize it. It's more of really tuning into the essence that's behind it. And then the visualization is natural, instead of trying to force your visualizations in order to create something. It's really not coming from the deepest level. What is coming from the essence level is when the essence is truly felt from your core creation experience, or the core of your soul being. And then how that beingness can interflow and be experienced as an external mirror. And then at this last pulse, you'll feel that pulse or the message of the beloved in a physical mirroring form coming back to you. And then you will feel its synthesis. So that's basically the activation, if I explain it to you in a very simple terms. And let us now rejoice together in this channeled activation experience for tuning into and creating the beloved experience as an external mirror at the essence level. Here we go. Dear beloved, focus deeply on breathing into your heart space. we want you to tune into your most sacred essence, which is the sacred space that only you know and feel as the innermost you, the sacred space that only you truly know in the greatest depth of your being. In this activation of the essence beloved self, we wish to feel that beloved essence at the very core of our being, and then externalize that feeling so that the experience of the beloved can become manifested in physical form in its illumined state. There are few basic steps within this very simple light exercise which you can attune to at any time when you are so called and guided. The first step of this exercise is meant to truly anchor you into the sacred beloved bubble, which is your bubble of divine love. From this heart space, you're calling forth for the beloved experience to manifest as a physical, direct, polar opposite, mirror reality that aligns with your inner illumined state that lies at the very heart of your core creation self, the beloved that you are in your inner twin soul. From that heart space essence, you don't need to try to manifest that outside of you or search for someone. From this sacred space, you actually desire to infuse the sacred life force running through you into the very heart of creation and return to you naturally through the organic flow of illumination. Return to you on the wings of love, feeling the external mirror. At the very heart of creation, at the essence level, we can only do so when we truly feel our inner being, when we truly feel who we deeply are as a unique essence of Source. From this space, we don't need to try to manifest things, write their qualities, or anything as such, for that beloved already exists within us. Within this light activation or exercise, we're simply drawing that forth in this transfusion of the essence level that outpours into our physical experience. So, as much light quotient is gathered within our sacred inner bubble of love, it can then return to us manifest through the external mirror experience of the polarized counterpart, the beloved self in physical form. It is our natural birthright and creation principle to know the beloved as an illumined essence in the physical form, for the physical form reflects the polarity expressed in matter, the heart of creation, the heart of divine love as felt through a human experience. Now you're ready to feel into this space through the alignment and the decree of your I Am presence. So sit comfortably in your sacred space, relax, tune into your sacred heart and feel. Affirm these words a few times until you truly feel that you're starting to drift into the deepened state of your I Am presence. I am my I Am presence. I am that I am. In the name of I Am, I now invoke my inner heart of the beloved, the most precious illumined heart that lies at the core of my being. Now feel how those words resound with the uniqueness of your creation self, and feel how these words enwrap a beautiful light-filled bubble of love around you. It is only your inner feeling that guides this experience, through which you now feel or visualize this sacred bubble of love. Now feel this sacred bubble as your most sacred space, a space which only you know at its maximum potential. It is the space within which you receive the most profound feelings of the Creator Self and the love of creation. This love for life fuels you, and it fuels everything you come in interaction with, consciously, subconsciously, and even unconsciously. And of course, superconsciously as well. In this first state of the experience, you are now, through the I Am Presence, invoking a sacred memory, which is not a memory of the past, but it is actually a memory held within the now time framework, because it is always accessible to you. So in this space, you're now calling forth an experience through which you've once felt a very profound feeling of being washed over with the love of the beloved, the love of divine love, when it was actually resonating within every single cell of your being, reminding you of what the beloved feels like in the physical. That love was being naturally washed through you. It overflowed through you. So imagine now that you are calling forth this experience, which reactivates this memory in the now, so that it can be always infinitely accessible in that now 0 point. Perhaps it was a moment when you really felt this union. It was perhaps a moment in nature. It was perhaps a premonition or a deep knowing of the love you are meant to experience in physical form, or the love you feel you're meant to live and experience as a human, a divine human on earth. Now let this memory, which is not a memory of the past, but it is a calling forth or an entering into the gateway that experience provided for you. And as you enter that sacred space, feel that gateway opening and again fueling your heart with the transfiguring flame of divine love, which opens you to your highest potentiality of the way you love, how you love, through your uniqueness. As that unique self washes over you, and that experience returns to you because it is always there and lives within you, you now feel this flame of divine love, which comes right from the core of your Christed self, the heart of the cosmic experience, or the heart of the cosmic Christ within you. And now you feel this love expanding from your core into the bubble of love that you're now sitting within, being, breathing, experiencing, and deeply feeling in your sacred space. You can sit in this sacred space experience for however long you are called to, whatever feels right for you. Now, in the second part of the light attunement, you will expand this love from within you into the outward experience so that it reaches the unlimited capacities that experience themselves or exist outside of your unique bubble of divine love. As you breathe as one with life force, you now feel how your bubble of love expands. And as it expands and grows, it activates the mirror potentiality that exists simultaneously with you, for it is always in unison with you. But because you're a human in the physical body, that experience of true love, once it's activated in the physical body, can only come through this mirroring experience in such a profound way. That is called the Illumined Beloved. And as you feel that your sacred bubble of light already holds or contains this essence of the Illumined Beloved, for it doesn't exist outside of you, suddenly your bubble of love within the Vesica Piscis formation extends, and it becomes two seemingly separate but not truly hearts that exist as two bubbles of divine love that are truly joined together as one. You allow life force to fuel this experience until you feel at the very core how you were always united as the twin soul experience within creation truth. And I'll feel that truth becoming an experience, showing you that reflection. In the third step of this light attunement, you now feel this other bubble of love that is held or contained within your own bubble of love, and yet seemingly being perceived as separate and existing outside of you while you're holding physical form. You now start to breathe with this second or mirror counter experience bubble of love in unison. And as you do so, that other bubble of love starts to receive, or it has a shape to it. It starts to mold itself into a shape that reveals itself naturally to you. In this way, you don't have to forcefully or through the mental capacities or through the only third eye perceptive or receptive abilities visualize anything, for that is already as it is within its core truth. You're simply aligning with that core truth within yourself and letting the visualization come to you naturally as you synchronize with the experience of the illumined beloved. Now, as you breathe from the core of your bubble of love, you breathe all the essence that you are, all the qualities, everything you are, into that counterpart mirror, polarity experience that exists what's outside of you, as a potentiality for the physical experience of the illumined beloved. Now, as you breathe life force into your sacred heart of the beloved through your own Christed heart, keeping your heart open, being washed fully over with this ultimate experience of true love from within the core of your being, you now imbue this essence when it reaches its climax point and breathe it into the second bubble of love that is your mirror experience, that is your divine counterpart in an illumined form, until the point you feel it so completely that it washes you in this synchronized experience of the in-breath and out-breath that these two essences share together as one synergized, harmonious essence of divine love within its uniqueness of source experience. In this third stage, therefore, you synchronize with this second or counter polarity mirror reflection, and you invite it to share this breath of life with you. So as you're breathing as one in this shared experience, you feel that your heart is their heart, your love is their love, your soul essence is their essence. There is no form of duality or separation. There is simply the polarity expressed in the beauty of your physical form, so that you can come together and share this experience at its ultimate potential in life. In this third step, therefore, you are completely synergizing in the physical sense, therefore activating the external mirror through the internal embracing of your own mirror polarity. So as you look into your most sacred bubble of love, through the ultimate experience of divine love, which makes you whole and complete as you are, you're simply breathing through the breath of life, that wholeness and completion in your illumined state, into the external mirror polarity. In this step, you might feel how that love reflects back to you. You might see a form receiving a certain shape or a quality, revealing more of its essence and how does it express itself while in physical form. You might also receive messages, divine signs, synchronicity and confirmation of that love. For you're sharing one breath, one sacred breath of creation with each other. You might also wish to imbue this experience with whatever kind of message you want to share in this union with the other or your mirror counterpart. So this leads to this last step where you feel an interflow of energy created within the dynamic and creation principle of the infinity symbol that flows in between you. In this way, you're not only synergizing and harmonizing the inner self polarities of the essence creation self, but you're also synchronizing the physical experience so that that love in its illumined state can penetrate into physical form and become its highest potential manifest in this physical reality now, so that it's for the highest good of all and in perfect divine alignment and timing. Therefore, in this final, complete step, you feel how when you breathe into the other as you, for they are you, you feel that breath of life returned. In this state, you might receive additional messages coming from the other mirror polarity to you. So therefore, you're feeling you're not only emitting the essence frequency to the other as your counterpart, but you're also feeling the flow of receptivity in an equal, harmonious exchange. You might wish to repeat the steps, if so called, or you might wish to do the exercise at any given time. What is important is that you truly first feel that completely overflowing love. So if you cannot feel it in this time frame, in this moment, remember the infinite moment where this experience already exists, for it was already created, for it is already in its eternal truth. So perhaps an event or a memory serves as a gateway to access that truth. Through that gateway, you enter into that state when you are completely washed over by that light of the beloved. And through its grace, you bring that into your most sacred heart of the beloved that is held within your sacred space. Then you breathe that out, expand it externally until it reaches a point of expansion where you feel that that separation never existed, that the heart of the beloved is who you are. And the moment you realize that, the physical polarity becomes an exact expression of your inner polarity. Therefore, the beloved you are tuning into is held at the illumined level. It is no longer needed or required to be a fragmented experience, or an experience that you seek within perhaps numerous other forms of creation. In this way, you are affirming to the whole of creation that you are in complete knowing of who you are at the I am level. And by not only affirming that, but infusing that through life force into your sacred bubble of love, you're opening a doorway for that to become your physical experience in life. Therefore, whether you are currently living in a life where you are alone or in partnership, or you are in co-creation of a partnership that reflects this highest state to you, this light attunement aligns you with that being held at the illumined level. Whatever kind of visualization or creative expression comes as a result of that light exercise does so naturally, for it's not being stimulated only through the third eye. It is being drawn forth from the deepest inner core within you that already exists, that knows who you are, that knows the beloved within you, and therefore recognizes the beloved frequency as it comes in the matched mirror polarity experience. That is you, perhaps being lived in another form, that shares the heart, that unified heart within the light of illumination. So when you learn to breathe into your own essence of the sacred bubble of love, breathing it out, drawing that beloved as an external mirror again to you, through life force, through the breath of life, that in itself is being invoked, is being activated and integrated into your physical experience in perfect alignment with the highest good and divine timing of your own creative experience here on earth. When you feel that this process is complete, simply feel a space of gratitude for the experience, and you might receive further messages during the day, or it might last a little longer. But each time when you do the exercise, you might deepen the experience, for you will deepen the level of feeling, which is your natural state when you truly connect to your soul. And as you keep breathing through life force, you're creating enough light quotient for that to become your ultimate experience and reality. But you must know yourself as you truly are, beyond all illusions of matter and separation, and fear of what could be, cannot be, or is not the way you thought it would be, and enter a space of what truly is at the heart of creation, your core illumined self. So be it, and so it is.